Look, listen, I hate to be that guy, mate. Oh, here he is, being woke again. Listen here, Alan. I just don't think it's a good idea having this 60-foot drop in a football stadium. It'll be fine, man. What's the worst that could happen? Why would you say that?
Looking good, Bev.
Oh, Jesus, my knee. I'm never gonna walk again. If only there was a woke builder to stop this 60-foot drop from being in place, because realistically, it doesn't seem... Not gonna lie, mate, I can't really help but feel that's a little bit targeted. Yo guys, it is your boy Niran here, and you are watching FTW. This, of course, the series where I bring to you the best and more frequently the worst of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. But what has been kicking off in the world? Nah, bun all of that noise. Over to the off license we go, because there's big news. The Premier League is back.
The wait is finally over. The world's most captivating sport returns for another year of drama, intrigue, beauty, and suspense. Football is back.
After a long summer of, well, actually quite a lot of football, I'm not gonna lie to you, the Premier League returned to our screens, our phones, and our dodgy Fire Sticks.
24-hour, year-long, endless football.
I mean, your dodgy Fire Stick, obviously, I've never owned that. I don't even know what a stick is. Anyway, I've just about got enough Wi-Fi from this prison cell to present to you FTW Season, I think, 6. So let's start with the opening game. Premier League title holders Liverpool welcomed Bournemouth to Anfield and won through late drama in a 4-2 mazzer of a match for the first match televised of the season. Televised, loosely speaking, if you're on Virgin Media, they were watching a game between Liverpool and Bournemouth from back in 2016. Yeah, customers of Virgin Media were struggling to see really anything from the game due to glitches all over their TV sets when the company, connected to train Wi-Fi by accident. The guy in charge of the out-of-context Football Manager account, meanwhile, was having problems of his own. He was in Romania attempting to find a pub to watch the game, only to see football somewhere and realise it was Scottish League Cup action. That's Romania this week for you. Speaking of people not seeing any of the action, and it took 13 minutes till our first VAR honker of the season, as Anthony Taylor, or the VAR, clearly didn't see this handball from Senesi on the halfway line.
Have a fucking word with him then, Red!
It could have been a one-on-one and maybe a red card, but at the very least was definitely a handball. 13 minutes, admittedly, is a long time for Anthony Taylor, but not on a football pitch. And this, honestly, I need a campaign. We've got to de-boldify referees, man. I've had enough already. Because how they didn't see this from the reverse angle, I have absolutely no idea whatsoever. Bournemouth's new keeper couldn't believe he was having his job stolen by a man from Argentina 15 minutes into the season.
There are some foreigners that are coming over and taking our jobs, and not even working.
They take our jobs if they're not working.
Because they do it.
This, of course, a poignant game for Liverpool, the return to the Premier League after the tragic passing of Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Silva. There were tributes all around the ground, and one came from this barber who decided to stop his trim during the minute's silence. Another heartwarming moment came when Ugo Ekitike gave us the lead, dedicating his celebration to Diogo as well. Unfortunately, the game was then overshadowed by a pretty despicable act from a Liverpool fan in the disabled section, as Antoine Semenyo of Bournemouth was racially abused by a guy in the front row. Antoine took the throw, but the game was then paused. He must have been pretty torn watching Hugo Ekitike put us into the lead. And he was then arrested and thrown out. Pretty deplorable act, especially on a day where there was so much emotion. There should be so much togetherness as well. He needs banning for life. Don't care. Absolutely no mitigating circumstances. Don't need people like that at Anfield. Antoine will have been getting his own back when he saw the supporter leaving the stadium afterwards. It definitely spurred Antoine on for the rest of the game. New signing and former Bournemouth player Milos Kerkez was getting moved to. Though then again, his controller looked a little bit different to everybody else's, because this kid was slide tackling everything that moved. His wing-back partner, Frimi Traore, over here, was having a very attack-minded game. I love Jeremy Frimpong, but I feel like Virgil van Dijk's going to get fed up of him at some point.
I'm going on an adventure!
Semenyo then grabbed a brace, one being an absolutely insane counter from Bournemouth, him carrying the ball almost the entire length of the pitch and then smacking one into the bottom corner. Virgil van Dijk was not having any of it in the build-up. Yeah, see you later, mate. No, I'm not involved. And to be honest, if I was him, I'd have left the ground watching Ibrahim Konate commit acts of terrorism all game. Now, with Jeremy Frimpong and Kerkez being kind of gung-ho, Arne Slot decided decided to bring on more defensive wing-backs, only for them to go and do the exact same things. That didn't really work when neither of them have any pace anymore, with Endo close to giving up as 12 Bournemouth players charged in behind.
What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to chase after them? I've got no legs!
Maybe we actually do just have asthma now at this point. It was a slightly more difficult day at the office than the Community Shield for Florian Squirt, as he's been named on Twitter. Elite slander name, but I'm not having it. He had a decent first half, in my opinion. He's just going to get judged unbelievably harshly because of the price tag. Then again, after I put him in my fantasy football team, yeah, actually, you know what, Florian, we might have to have some work. With the game, though, finally poised at 2-2, the match needed a hero, and it received one. Federico Chiesa created his first massive moment as a Liverpool player, scoring in the 89th minute and sending Anfield into complete disarray. I'm so happy for him. He seems like such a lovely little guy. And now he finally has a moment to match the chant that we've given him. It was causing pandemonium in the stands, and one moment this supporter will never forget.
What the fucking hell's happening?
For the wrong reasons. This steward's probably been flashbanged, bro.
Sexy little penetration.
Their game is so back, honestly. I think we might need one final VAR check of this match, and listen.
We'll have a look. Of course we'll have a look.
Liverpool posted a picture of the scenes for Chiesa's goal, and little did the stadium know they were about to see cheeks. And honestly, shout out to Antoine Semenyo. Just again, genuinely speaking, must have been incredibly difficult for him to go through what happened during the course of that game. For him to put in what, in my opinion, was a Man of the Match award. I know Ekitike was given it in the end, but I think Semenyo deserved it based on the 2 goals and his performance, especially given the context. Fair play to him. What a game, though. My heart rate for this season's going to be a catastrophe if it carries on like this. Arguably the most anticipated match of game week 1, though, was Arsenal taking on United. In the past, this was 2 titans of English football, leading to Roy Keane shoving his football boots into Patrick Vieira's prostate or something. Only these days, Manchester United are that thing just below the prostate, and not much is expected of them.
I just want to get this off my chest. Y'all are trash.
Ruben Amorim was bursting into tears when the FA were forcing him to choose a goalkeeper to put in between the sticks for this one.
For me, I can't do it.
You can!
To be fair, he could have put himself in goal, because Arsenal showed the attacking threat of a mid-surgery ICU patient. Doc, I'm reading his sheet. He's an Arsenal supporter. Fucking hell, Jeremy, that means we've only got seconds to save him. Am I right? Because obviously... Yeah, probably should have spent those seconds saving him, not making that joke in hindsight. But Arsenal did hobnob Rory Delapify their way to a 1-0 win at Old Trafford, but not a very convincing performance at all. Do you understand how washed you have to be to make United look acceptable? They were outplayed stats-wise in this one, out-XG'd by the Red Devils, but luckily for them, they scored from a corner, Ricardo Calafiori nodding in at close range. Although seemingly Mikel Arteta will be wanting Ricardo to use his head for something else, after he said Calafiori had aura in a post-match press conference. This man's sexually attracted to his own player. And listen,
Why are you gay?
there were question marks over this goal's validity, given William Saliba had his hands on Bayindir. Honestly, Saliba here's used his hands more than Bayindir has in his United career. It's the same old Arsenal though, isn't it? They created only 0.29 XG from open play, and I know Arteta's foaming at the mouth when he looks at a racetrack because of all of the corners on it. Before the game, and Arsenal released their starting 11, and it showed Martin Odegaard in jeans for it. To be fair, he played the second half of last season like he was wearing jeans, so it kind of makes sense. And even more woke nonsense, half-time interviews. Yeah, obviously bit of a mad thing so far, but got another 45 to go, you know, back out the 4-5. Come on. My boy Saks, run up the shy. Shout out to Victor Gyokeres though. He turned London red for his match rating. Yeah, a little bit too literal on that one for the Swede. 0% dribbles completed, 0 goals, 0 assists, and 35 hair flicks. Man of the match display. His highlights, unfortunately for the game, not really all that strong. He's not very match sharp, let's be real. We need to give him a little bit of time, but the clock's already ticking on the Glock already hitting that 007. Benjamin Sesko didn't even make the starting 11, to be fair, for Manchester United. And in his 25-minute cameo, things could have been a little bit better. Sesko was looking more like air crash investigation. A penalty could have been given, though, to Manchester United, who can definitely feel hard done by given some of the refereeing decisions here. That on William Saliba, who came through the back of Mateus Cunha. Pause. And it left United back where they know best in the Premier League.
Easy top 3. If I'm not 16!
Hey, babe, what's your favourite position? You know what, darling? I'd probably say 15th, innit? No, I meant like Missionary or Mamadou Ugarte came on at the same time as Benjamin Sesko, and boy, he was even worse. Maybe one of the worst cameos I've ever seen.
In that position, I just have to smash.
United fans were trying to offload him to #United, who upon further review and watching the highlights weren't even interested in him either. Honestly, you could get him maximum price 25 quid. If I'm lying, I'm flying. This was an awful display. But on the flip side, and Mason Mount, not gonna lie, he's been pretty good recently. If I'm United, I'd actually take a little bit of, promise away from this football match, because the performance definitely looked a lot better than last year already. Wolves were the hosts of Manchester City, and it ended in a 4-0 slapping.
Well, you just knew that was going to happen.
They brought out an incredible tifo for Diogo Jota, and I think it's kind of overlooked a little bit that Diogo is just as loved and is just as influential in Wolves' history as he is in Liverpool, so really nice touch and really nice tribute from them. It was a game that Ederson was ill for, allegedly, according to Pep Guardiola, probably ill at the prospect of being replaced by James Trafford. Beforehand, and Erling Haaland was asked on his thoughts about the Wolverhampton area, to which he could see right through this fan's intentions. But Erling the next day would put Wolves to the sword, scoring a brace and getting his goal scoring right back on track. The star of the show, though, really was Tijani Reinders, who put in an incredible display in his first game, his debut. Reinders, terrific. And that's just what Santa says when he brings in Rudolph's mate for his first Christmas. Palace v Chelsea may have looked like a boring 0-0 on paper. No, that's it. There's nothing. It was a boring. There was controversy here when Ebere Eze had a rocket of a free kick disallowed. This for one of the most useless laws I've ever seen in the game of football. That apparently new for this season, I think. When a defensive wall is put together, the attacking players, all of them, if the wall is made out of at least 3 players, must be within a meter of the defensive wall. Yeah, honestly, I've been asking for that one to be introduced with my mates down at the pub. Been calling for it for years now. All I know is there was some leaked communications from the PGMOL which displayed the actual reason.
That was too hard. Someone's going to get hurt if you kick it that hard.
Either way, poor display here from Chelsea, not going to lie to you. Bit toothless. Cole Palmer's turning into the English Danny Drinkwater. Meanwhile, Todd Bowley was on his phone. He had to be prodded off it by his own missus, because even he doesn't want to watch these lot play. Ebere Eze, meanwhile, on the verge of potentially leaving Palace, could be seen with an inhaler in his hand, sparking interest from Liverpool at the last second. The Premier League new boys, Sunderland, took on part-time football club West Ham United and absolutely slapped them up 3-0. Fucking hell, what a season, eh? Captain, it's game week 1. This is the worst West Ham performance that you're going to see until probably the next time that West Ham United play. Supporters were trying to get into the spirit. They had a long journey up to the northeast of England, spending that journey bringing a PlayStation 5 and a TV with them to play on the train, and their team took inspiration by disconnecting in the second half. Mohamed Kudus wasn't there to save them, or Mohamed Judas, according to this banner that they took up with them. A 3-0 disappointing performance against, whilst a very good, actually, Sunderland team in terms of the recruitment that they've done. A lot of really strong debuts here. This is bad for West Ham. Hammers supporters suggesting that Potter won't even last a month. And that's just them predicting what Voldemort's going to do when he gets the Horcruxes back in line.
Boy who lived, come to die.
One West Ham supporter is even contacting his bank because he's saying that his season ticket is an act of fraud. He can be seen giving that away to a homeless man outside the ground.
Here you go, mate. Go and see the second half. It's shit.
Barkley's, though, responding, wishing him luck for the rest of the season. But ladies and gentlemen, there is a new football club ready to take over. That's right, the Reform Party. So they might want to fill a few more seats in a stadium than they do in Parliament. I'm not going to lie to you. Nigel Farage's comments on keeping politics out of football are going well, I see. And he's going to be devastated when he realises that foreign players have to come and actually play at his ground in the Champions League. Their away kit seems a little bit over the top, I've got to say. And he's in for a big shock when he realises that all 11 of their players can't actually play on the right wing together. Brentford versus Forest now, and perhaps some concern for the Bees. They've lost their manager, backroom staff, captain, goalkeeper, and leading 2 strikers, and that showed as they were beaten 3-1 by Nottingham Forest. Keith Andrews, their former set-piece coach, is now their new gaffer, and he conceded a set-piece within 5 minutes.
This football club is finished. Wahali, it is finished.
It was Chris who would give Brentford his wood in the end. He might genuinely be top of the Ballon d'Or voting at this point. But in fairness to Brentford, they were missing a key name in the form of Mikkel Damsgaard. Probably, in my opinion, their player of the season last year due to the fact his wife was giving birth. Honestly, can the kid play up front? That's my question, because at the moment, Mr. Marinakis, the Forest owner, was greeting his players after this victory here. Morgan Gibbs White's face suggested he's still traumatized by this Greek piece of meat. Morgan's dad is probably still in a cage until he signs his next deal. Meanwhile, Jordan Henderson came on here, and honestly, he was bad. He might have developed into a super unk.
Leave the football before the football leaves you. This has to stop.
And the drama is continuing off the pitch for Brentford, as Johan Wissa, unhappy about not being allowed to pursue a move out of Brentford, has unfollowed the club on Instagram, changed his profile picture to just being black, and removed all of the club's posts off his profile. He either wants to leave or he's about to drop a new album. I'm not fully sure yet. Either way, he could be seen lingering outside of St James's Park in their game against Villa, attempting to make a move happen before deadline day.
What are you doing?
Me? Just hanging around.
And Tottenham started the season well with a 3-0 victory over Burnley. The newly promoted side might just be worth relegating them early, just to get everything sorted out of the way. A man said genuinely they might be the first team to finish under the table. That is crazy. They were, though, beaten, in fairness, by an incredible goal from Richarlison, which is our first goal of the week. The ball being played in by Mohamed Kudus after some great skill, and an acrobatic effort from the Brazilian. This game was also unique because it saw Martin Dubravka, the victim of a new footballing law. As a goalkeeper, if you hold onto the ball for over 8 seconds, a corner is given to the opposition. In my opinion, one of the few good laws that we've seen in the game recently, because it speeds everything up a little bit. Meanwhile, over at Aston Villa, why have we got an Ibiza boss mask in the stands? It's a points deduction. I'm sorry, we gotta get these guys out of here for that one. Now, one question mark over the summer has been around Jadon Sancho. He's been linked with a move away to Roma, but decided he's not going because he's not willing to take a pay cut. This man said he just wanted to play football. I'm starting to realize there's different reasons at play.
At the end, we're playing this football because of money.
There's gonna be no football played this season. His highlights will be below average. One man who is on the move is Gyokeres and Sesko. He's heading to North London, but for who? Chris Kamara. Arsenal pulled off a massive surprise to snatch Gyokeres and Sesko from Crystal Palace right under the noses of Spurs. This deal was supposed to be done between Palace and Tottenham, only for Kai Havertz to get injured and for Arsenal to spring into action. The deal with Spurs has now collapsed, and their fans have collapsed as well. They're going to need to show some serious work rate to apply Warra Trophy to everything Eze related this morning. Gyokeres is an Arsenal fan and used to play for the academy until the age of 13. He'll be buzzing to get a tour of the stadium, though at least the recent trophy cabinet part of the tour will be pretty easy. Get Sol Campbell for this announcement. It goes quadruple platinum, fam, because this is an absolute violation for Spurs. Meanwhile, at Fulham, the only thing getting violated is the kit man. Calvin Bassey with a wardrobe malfunction, trying to defend against Brighton. Over in Spain, Barcelona faced off against Mallorca in the first game of the La Liga season, and it's fair to say things didn't go that well to start off with for Mallorca, down to 9 men after just 40 minutes. Yeah, nothing too silly, lads, alright? It's the first game of the season. Yeah, we want to just ease ourselves in. One young Mallorca fan was getting emotional already. We had kids reading Marcus Rashford's book in the crowd. This guy is a star. And speaking of which, he's having an influence already, as Barcelona offered to give free breakfast to journalists before kickoff. How did they register the croissants? That's what I want to know. At Real Madrid, they have brought in youngster wonder kid Argentinian Franco Mastantuono from River Plate. He had his official reveal this week, only to pull out the cardinal sin of saying that Lionel Messi is his hero. I mean, he is Argentinian at the end of the day, but Florentino Perez is going to have that boy back in Belgrano by the time he can say Arjagula on the bench. There were beautiful scenes at Real Oviedo as Santi Cazorla returned to La Liga with his boyhood club. The story of him at Oviedo is a literal fairy tale at this stage. In Germany, Bayern Munich secured the German Super Cup, a second trophy for Harry Kane. The guy might actually be starting to get used to it now. Let's go! Elsewhere at Bayern, and Michael Elise 100% definitely wants to do this social media content.
You lot subscribe to the channel. Obviously, I'm saying this sort of free will. No one's forcing me.
Meanwhile, Flamengo tweeted asking their fans who they thought the best players were to ever put on a Flamengo shirt, which Bayer Leverkusen replied all of your under-20s after being beaten by their youth side 5-1 in pre-season. Liga has started up in France as well. PSG can be thankful to Nantes for bringing them a chocolate version of the Champions League. This is the version that Arsenal have got back in. Get me. Eze, get ready for that one. Meanwhile, at Strasbourg, and they put out probably one of the youngest sides in footballing history for like a senior team, an average age of 20.4, their oldest player being just 22. That is a university, not a football club. And over in Italy, Antonio Conte was absolutely fuming at Olympiacos after a few pretty hefty challenges were flying in during a friendly.
I prefer to kill him.
Now that it's time for your goals of the week, we got more bangers for you. First of all, we head to Russia, where Mikhail Mavrin of CSKA Moscow's under-18s has brought out a beautiful touch and volleyed it straight in. Dimitar Berbatov vibes, not gonna lie. We're back to Spain for the second goal. It comes from Atletico Madrid, where Julian Alvarez has produced a pinpoint accurate free kick. It's just a shame Atletico went on to lose the game. But finally, we go to Portchester in the FA Cup. It's kind of a combination goal, this one. Lovely link-up play, moving the ball around quickly, and finished off by an absolute screamer from Alfie Stanley. Hello all and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty. And that concludes The Beautiful Game. Now in Brazil, and there were sad scenes at Santos. Obviously not the Santos they once were. They spent a little bit of time in the second division of Brazilian football last year. They were absolutely battered by Felipe Coutinho and Vasco da Gama this week. Felipe absolutely dunking on Neymar, who could be seen visibly absolutely devastated by the result. And the manager was sacked immediately after full time. Didn't even let bro get to the dressing room. That's absolutely wild. I'm not surprised, by the way. I don't think I've ever even seen a 6-0 in Brazil before. They'd have been protesting on the streets at 4-0. In European Cup qualifying now, and a massive shout out to Virtus of San Marino. They are one aggregate win away from actually being in a UEFA tournament proper. Wild scenes after they defeated Milsami Ohai. And it really is a season for the small nations right now, because Lincoln Red Imps of Gibraltar have also guaranteed that they will be playing in one of the tournaments this season. Even if they were to lose the rest of their qualifiers, they'd be in the Conference League. This is going to take some getting used to. Thomas Müller in a different football kit. After an entire career and childhood basically at Bayern Munich, Thomas Müller left Bayern Munich and has joined Vancouver Whitecaps in the MLS. I guess now they can call me Levan Shotsky. Yeah, because obviously, I'm in America now. I'm gonna get shot, guys, is the reality. Over in Turkey, and what a comeback for Mauro Icardi, who spent over 200 days out injured after rupturing his ACL last season. He returned and scored immediately for Galatasaray. In a front three of him, Leroy Sané and Victor Osimhen. They're kind of cooking over there, I'm not gonna lie. Up in Scotland and at Kilmarnock, a kind of wholesome kind of update. It was actually a pretty disappointing story at first. Kilmarnock's women had signed a young 16-year-old kid called Sky Stout. Wavy name, by the way. She joined the club, had a little reveal picture, only to receive abuse online for her skin. It was pretty poor, especially given she's basically a kid, realistically. But thankfully, she did her talking on the pitch by scoring a free kick on her debut for a new club. Love to see it. Wishing her the best for the season. Back in the US and Inter Miami are balling out. Luis Suarez had the potential to grab one of the coldest assists I've seen in ages with this back heel, only for it to be offside. But his teammate Lionel Messi did have an assist that was beautiful, given this lovely flick through to a teammate to slot home. Meanwhile, in Slovakia, and you cannot convince me that this goalkeeper is not part of a match-fixing scandal. Closer to home, Aston Villa have been punished. They apparently were not using the multi-ball system in their 0-0 draw versus Newcastle. The Premier League have punished them by not allowing them to use the multi-ball system. That doesn't seem like much of a punishment to me. It's quite literally what they wanted. Elsewhere in the West Midlands, and West Bromwich Albion's under-18s took the lead in the 7th minute thanks to a player whose surname is 77. How does that even happen? Are both his parents related, or things going considerably worse though for Birmingham's academy? They got battered and posted a tweet with the caption simply, "We lost." Yeah, you did, lads. You lost 8-0. The goalkeeper worked from home during this one. That's the only explanation. It's all right. You'll get him next time. It could have been anyone's game. Now, I have some unfortunate news to bring you now, and that is that friend of the channel, Gem, has been a fraud this week. He played in a charity match amongst Football Manager creators, I believe, and missed an absolute honker of a sitter. Listen, there's a baller in there. I'm not gonna lie, but for this, we gotta slap him in the gulag. Gem, I'm so sorry. Meanwhile, what a story in a game between Dorchester and Walton and Hersham. Going into the 92nd minute, Dorchester were 3-0 up before Walton and Hersham scored 3 goals back-to-back in 3 minutes to equalise and grab a draw from the game. What the hell did the manager say to these lot to get that kind of reaction? Mr. Marinakis must have turned up. These guys were getting held hostage if they didn't make a comeback. If I'm Dorchester's manager, I'm rinsing these lot at full time. Over in Jamaica now, we've got maybe the most extravagant save I've seen in a while. Better than both the Manchester United's goalkeeping options. Sign him up right now. And for the vibes as well. Actually, no, Carnival's coming up. He'll get distracted. In Burma, and in a game between Yangon United and Yad Narbonne, we've got one of the most waterlogged pitches I've seen. How did they even get to the end of this football match? Rare scenes in North Macedonia, where 2 teams, Bashkimi and Arzimi, are playing their first ever games in the top flight in their history against each other. Meanwhile, not exactly a rare sight if you're a Hajduk Split fan, watching your side go out of European competition before the group stages. For 14 years in a row, the Croatian side have failed to qualify for the league or group stage of a UEFA competition. Just give the slot to somebody else at this point, because you're not making use of it. In Brazil, and massive character Davison brought out his trademark pump fake stretch at Hanwell, and their goalkeeper was clearly bored. He needed to inject some spice into his life, bringing out a scorpion save after the referee had blown blown his whistle. And over in Malaysia, 2 stories from them. First of all, their VAR screen appears to have been made on a PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to need a PowerPoint presentation to explain this next picture. Whose boot is this flying around in the background? It seems like a bit of an unfair advantage for the opponents to be invisible. That's all I'm going to say. Now there is time for Still 0-0, and you guys know the score by now. This is a segment of the show where I bring to you the best of Sunday League and amateur football. Now often there's a lot of focus on the players, right, when it comes to Sunday League. It's a chance ultimately to go and play football with your mates. The standards are not going to be as high as what we see on TV. But sometimes we forget the refereeing standards may also be pretty bad. And given the howlers we get for professional referees, you can only imagine how bad it gets for amateur football. And an example of that here for Dunfermline West in Scotland, where a referee has managed to miss maybe the most obvious handball on the line in human history. This guy could have grabbed the ball, swapped shirts with the actual goalkeeper, and then lumped it up the other end of the pitch, and the ref still wouldn't have seen it. On to the weird stuff though now. First of all, we've got a massive achievement from a man just like you and I. Ori Fanar, I don't even know what that letter is in Icelandic. I'm gonna assume that it's a D. Dorisson is an Icelandic football manager fan, right? He absolutely loves the game. And when I say he loves it, I mean his actual playtime. He spent 8% of his life, his overall life, playing the game. This man was born with a laptop in his hand. Well, obviously with all that practice, he's pretty good at Football Manager, and it's actually translated to him being a pretty decent real-life manager as well. He's taken charge of a side in Iceland, and he won 7-1 away from home this week. Might see him rising through the leagues, maybe the next Will Still, and honestly, he's living our dream. But finally, a feel-good story coming from the Pacific. The Marshall Islands are the last country on Earth not to have a football team until this week. Yeah, all the way back in 2020, these guys had a plan to create the first ever Marshall Islands football team to represent their country, a population of just over 40,000 people. Well, after 5 years of long, hard work, they played their first couple of games in a regional tournament. The first against the US Virgin Islands, where they lost 4-0, but the second where they actually scored their first goals as a country. Josiah Blanton making history for the nation, grabbing their first ever goal in a 3-2 defeat to the Turks and Caicos Islands. Welcome to the world of football, the Marshall Islands. That, though, is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course, subscribe if you are new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @officialfng on Twitter and on Insta. It's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.